Right now, thousands of Jamaicans are stressing over the US immigrant visa suspension. Files on hold, interviews cancelled, families in limbo. But here's the part nobody tells you: while one door is tightening, other doors are wide open. There are countries that are open to Jamaicans. Some of these countries don't require a visa to enter. In this video, we're counting down 10 countries that are actively welcoming Jamaicans, places where you can live, work, study or start over, without depending on a US visa. And when you hear country number 1, you might actually start replanning your whole life. Now before we jump in, here's what we're looking for. Every country on this countdown meets specific criteria. Visa-free or easier entry for Jamaicans, at least for short stays. Realistic paths to stay longer through study, work permits, or residency programs. Important note, visa rules change constantly, so always verify current requirements before booking anything. That said, this is not a pack-up-and-go list. This is a strategy list so you can think smart and stop acting like America is the only option. Alright, let's start the countdown from number 10. Number 10, Barbados, the easy Caribbean starter. At number 10, we have Barbados, your Caribbean neighbor. Right now, Jamaicans typically enjoy visa-free short stays for tourism and business. That's immediate access, no embassy stress. Barbados has a strong tourism economy with relatively higher wages in hospitality, finance, and professional services compared to Jamaica. If you have the right qualifications, the money is better. Plus, they've actively courted remote workers through digital nomad programs showing the government wants foreign talent. Culture-wise, it's an English-speaking Caribbean vibes, cricket culture, social integration is easier than moving somewhere completely foreign. Now the reality. Jobs are competitive, especially good ones. You're better positioned if you're a qualified professional or already have remote income. The cost of living is high with rent, groceries and utilities running higher than Jamaica. But as a starter option to explore your options while staying in the Caribbean, Barbados is solid at number 10. Number 9, Trinidad and Tobago, energy, money and Caribbean hustle. Trinidad isn't just another island. It's got oil, natural gas, and a corporate backbone most Caribbean countries can't match. Where's the money? It has the energy sector: oil, gas, petrochemicals plus supporting industries, finance, logistics, engineering and project management. If you've got technical skills or business qualifications, Trinidad has corporate opportunities that Jamaica doesn't have at this scale. The creative sector is also strong with music, events, carnival industries and media production. Here's a key pathway: the CARICOM Skilled Nationals Certificate. For certain professions, teachers, nurses, artisans, musicians, and media workers, this gives you work and residence rights across CARICOM member states, including Trinidad. The reality? Crime exists in certain areas. Research neighborhoods and companies thoroughly before you land. Don't wing it, but if you're strategic and know how to navigate a more corporate, structured economy, Trinidad can be a serious move. Number 8, Guyana, the new oil frontier. Massive oil discoveries have turned this country into one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And fast growth needs people. The demand is in construction and infrastructure, they're building everything. Engineering and technical fields companies are hiring qualified people. Hospitality services is also in high demand. CARICOM gives Jamaicans a head start with cultural familiarity and language. The challenges? Infrastructure in some areas is still developing. Housing costs in popular areas are rising fast because of the boom. But here's the positioning: if you have skills in construction, project management, engineering, or service industries, Guyana is a place to watch closely over the next 5 to 10 years. Get in early, build something real. There is high risk, high reward and massive potential. That's number 8. Number 7, Costa Rica, Pura Vida on a budget. For Jamaicans, short stay entries usually requires a visa, but if you already hold a US, Canadian or Schengen visas, the process can sometimes be easier. Why do people love Costa Rica? It's one of the safest countries in Latin America. The healthcare system is solid. And the government has actively courted digital nomads and foreign residents through specific programs. Opportunities exist in tourism and hospitality, English teachers, and remote work if your income comes from abroad. The Pura Vida mindset is real, life is slower here and people prioritize happiness and nature. Spanish is important. You can survive with English in tourist areas, but integration and local work require language skills. Cost of living is mid-range, cheaper than the US or Canada, but not dirt cheap. For a safe, beautiful environment with opportunities for remote workers and entrepreneurs, Costa Rica earns number 7. Number 6 Mexico, big economy, big cities, big options. Jamaicans usually need a visa for Mexico, but once you've handled that paperwork, it becomes a powerful base with massive variety. If you want a modern corporate cities, there is Mexico City or Monterrey. For beach tourism, there is Cancun or Tulum. Smaller artsy towns, you have Oaxaca or Guanajuato. The range is insane. It's wildly popular with remote workers because of reasonable cost of living, good internet in major cities, and cheap flights to the US. Temporary resident visas are realistic with proof of income, pension, job offers, or even savings. You need Spanish for most local jobs. Safety varies widely by region. Some areas are incredibly safe, others aren't. Research thoroughly and talk to expats already there. The size and diversity mean almost anyone can find their niche. Big options for big thinkers, that's number 6. Number 5 Panama, banking, business and the canal. Panama literally links North and South America, and the canal makes it one of the most important logistics hubs on the planet. Panama City is a legit financial center with regional headquarters for multinationals. There is banking, insurance, and maritime services if you've got business or finance skills. Depending on current visa rules, Jamaicans can sometimes enter relatively easily for short stays, but check the latest requirements because Panama changes its entry list periodically. Opportunities exist in banking and finance, maritime and logistics, tourism, and for those earning online, it's already a known hub for digital nomads. Panama has historically offered investor-friendly permanent residence options, actively attracting migrants who bring skills and investment. Panama City is not cheap, rent in modern areas runs high. Spanish fluency opens more doors, though you can survive with English in certain jobs. For a stable, business-friendly environment in the heart of the Americas, Panama is number 5. Number 4 Canada cold climate, hot demand for skills. Let me be clear up front, Canada is not visa-free for Jamaicans. You need visas and permits. But I'm putting it at number 4 because the pathways are realistic and thousands of Jamaicans have successfully used them. Canada has strong programs for students, skilled workers, and caregivers. Provinces actively recruit in healthcare, skilled trades, agriculture, logistics, and IT. Many Jamaicans use the study to immigration route, come as an international student, get a degree, get a post-graduation work permit, gain Canadian experience, then apply for permanent residency. It's structured and it works. Others get employer-sponsored work permits, a Canadian company hires you, sponsors your visa, and eventually you can apply to stay permanently. The benefits? Stable economy, publicly funded healthcare, solid education, and established Jamaican communities in Toronto, Brampton, Mississauga. You're not alone. Major cities are expensive. Toronto and Vancouver housing costs are wild. Winters are brutal. Immigration is competitive and the paperwork is heavy. But if you're willing to invest in education or building skills, Canada offers one of the clearest pathways to permanent residence. And once you're in, your kids get free education, you get healthcare and you build equity. Tough to get in, but one of the best places to build stability. That's number 4. Number 3 United Kingdom, family ties and new work routes. Jamaica and the UK have deep historical connections. Generations of Jamaicans have built communities there, and that foundation still matters. You need a visa, but the UK has multiple realistic routes: skilled worker visas, health and care worker visas, student visas, and post-study work visas. Right now, the UK is desperate for nurses, the NHS needs them badly, and Jamaicans are filling those roles. Caregivers and support workers are in huge demand. Certain trades and professionals in tech, engineering, and finance are wanted. If you have family in the UK, that's a huge advantage for accommodation and navigating the system. Education is another route. 1-year master's degrees plus a 2-year graduate work visa can transition into permanent residence. Cost of living in cities like London is high. Weather is cold and rainy. The immigration system can be frustrating, but thousands of Jamaicans are thriving there right now as nurses, teachers, business owners, and tech professionals. The pathways exist, demand exists, and historical connections make integration easier. Not easy, but absolutely achievable with the right strategy. That's number 3. Number 2, Ghana, back to Africa, forward with opportunity. There's a growing movement of Caribbean people reconnecting with Africa, and Ghana has positioned itself at the center. Initiatives like the Year of Return actively reaches out to the diaspora. The government has created programs to make it easier for people of African descent to visit, invest, and settle. For Jamaicans, visiting short-term requires a visa or e-visa, but the process is becoming more accessible. Opportunities exist in real estate and small business cafes, guest houses, services targeting expats and tourists. Creative industries have strong overlap: reggae and dancehall influences, Afrobeat and Ghanaian music. Collaborations are happening, cultural exchange is real. For many Jamaicans, Ghana feels strange and familiar at the same time. You see your face in the people. You hear rhythms you recognize. It's a different kind of homecoming. Infrastructure can be challenging, bureaucracy slow, internet less reliable, and power outages happen. You need patience and extended visits before making permanent moves. But Ghana represents something bigger than economics. It's about identity, connection, and building something in a place that's growing and wants you there. For Jamaicans who feel that pull to Africa, who want to invest in the continent, Ghana is calling. That's why it's number 2. Number 1, Jamaica, the passport you already have. Wait, what? The place you're trying to leave? Yes, Jamaica. The passport you already have. Let me flip the script, because we've been conditioned to think success means leaving. That opportunities are always somewhere else. Here's the truth: even if you leave, Jamaica should be your base and your plan B. Opportunities exist here. Tourism entrepreneurship, Airbnb, guest houses, tour companies are serving millions of tourists. There are BPO and remote work where you can earn US or Canadian dollars, while living where your cost of living is lower. Agriculture and agro-processing food security is a global issue. If you can produce and package, there's demand. Real estate for diaspora visitors and retirees. There is online work such as YouTube, freelancing and e-commerce where you can earn foreign currency from anywhere while living in Jamaica. You're not trapped by local wages. And here's the power move: use your Jamaican passport and CARICOM freedom to bounce around the region. Set up in Jamaica, do business in Trinidad, explore Barbados and come back home. You're not locked into one place. The real power move is not leaving, it's building a life that gives you options. Maybe that's Canada for education. Maybe Ghana for cultural connection. Maybe Guyana for the oil boom. But Jamaica? Jamaica is yours. You speak the language. You understand the culture. You have networks. You don't need a visa. You're already home. And if you build something here, you always have something to come back to. That's freedom. That's strategy. Jamaica is number 1, not because it's perfect, But because it's yours, and you'd be surprised what you can build when you stop seeing your own country as the problem and start seeing it as the foundation. Alright, so you've heard 10 countries. How do you choose? What's your goal? Education, money, safety, cultural connection? Be clear about your timeline, short-term experiment or long-term migration. Skills and money, what do you actually bring to the table? Be honest, are you willing to learn Spanish? Can you handle cold winters? And finally, scout before you commit. Visit if you can, talk to people already there, join online forums. Listen, US immigrant visas might be on pause, but your life is not on pause. From Barbados and Guyana to Canada, the UK, and Ghana, Jamaicans have far more options than you were ever told. The world is bigger than one embassy. Your potential is bigger than one visa. Comment which country you'd seriously consider and which 3 you want a deep dive on for part 2. Like, subscribe, and share this with anyone stressing about US visas right now. Remember, one door closing doesn't mean you're stuck. It just means you need to know where the other doors are. I'll see you in the next one.